Welcome everybody, welcome to Opening Ceremony Podcast. This is my YouTube channel where you can see all of my podcasts in video form basically. My podcast is one of my big passion projects really. I just do it because I love it. I do it because I love championing people and all their passions essentially. And everything we talk about is related in some way to ceremonies or the life events that accompany them. So we're looking at life through the lens of funerals, weddings, naming ceremonies, but ceremonies in general, globally, locally, historically. So we have people from everyone from archaeologists of death and memory to psychologists, writers, I've even got somebody coming who got married to the River Avon for environmental reasons. She's a wild swimmer. People who have unusual weddings, history. I have a history lecturer coming to talk about suffragette weddings. So there's loads of fascinating historical stuff around ceremony and contemporary things too. So I'll be talking about my own particular passion, which is living wakes or funerals for the living. I'll have some of my people on for whom I've done weddings. And what you'll find is that as you talk about ceremony, you start to talk about life events and you start to talk about the most important stories of people's lives and the trajectories of their lives. And it also means that we can contextualise ourselves in our culture, look back at where we've come from, where we're going to, and what's happening now and what that tells us about the type of society we're living in. My focus is generally speaking on the UK because it's where I live, but I'm really excited to be reaching out to people all over the world. I'm hoping there's someone out there who will come and tell me about Ethiopian ceremonial hair braiding for weddings. And I'm really keen to hear about all kinds of different funeral traditions. But ultimately, I'm not here to really speak to celebrities or massively important people or famous people. I want to speak to real human beings like you, and I want to hear your stories about how you met, what you did when your babies were born, how you buried your loved ones, how you feel about your own mortality or your own life celebrations, your regrets, your joys, your triumphs. And I mean, I've just spent my life telling stories for since 2013 as a celebrant doing ceremonies, but I really love that side of my work, telling the stories, the ways in which telling stories really helps people when they're having a funeral, getting the photograph albums out, remembering all the pets that you've had all your life. So I just love my work. I really love my work, but I especially love hearing from you and telling your stories and sharing them with the world, because people's stories are fascinating and hopeful. And I think what I would love for my community, my constellation as you're known, is for us to draw strength and hope from it. Because when you start to hear about how people live, the things they've done, and just hear their really, really personal stories, I'm hoping that I will be able to get some interfaith couples on here, hopefully some Israeli-Palestinian couples, to talk about their experience, not of war, not of religious ideology, but of their day-to-day experience, how they planned their wedding, how they fell in love, what they did, what they had to eat. Because I think it's really important for us to learn that we are all human beings. We all love and we all eat and we all gather. And then there's all sorts of other stuff around animals as well, and how animals grieve and mourn and celebrate. And loads of people have done work around trauma and grief and how emotional well-being is impacted by have a sip of coffee, how we grieve and how we process. So there's that. I mean, if I had £1 for every person that says to me a funeral is a waste of time, I know that looks like I'm pouring it out, but I'm not. If I hold it that way, it looks a bit less alarming. People say that funerals are a waste of money. So if every time someone said to me, put me up with the bins, chuck me away, it doesn't mean anything, I took £1. I mean, I really would. If I had £1 for every time they say that, I'd be a millionaire. But obviously that's quite insulting to me, because that's what I do for my living and because it's been my life's passion. And I know, but I also know the impact that these grieving processes have for people, and the way in which we start to move through to some source of healing by sharing stories in community. So funerals have never been a waste of time and they've never been a waste of money, but at the moment that's what we're saying. And my response to that is to embrace this new tradition of, well, it's not a tradition yet, but it's tradition in the making, and traditions are never forever, they're always new. Is this business of living funerals or funerals for the living, because people then at least are gathering, at least they're eating together, at least they're writing their stories and sharing their stories and their photographs, which begins a healing process and enables people to say goodbye in healthy ways, rather than just doing nothing, which, trust me, is really bad. So I'm hoping to get people to come. I mean, my dream is to get Gabor Mate on here, or Esther Perel, to talk about ritual, because I really, really believe in what I do. Not because I've got some kind of weird academic idea about it, but in a detached way, but in real practical terms, I have seen the effect of grieving well, or having wedding celebrations, the ways in which wedding celebrations bring communities together, quite disparate communities, interfaith communities. It's profound. So I wanted to share with the world what I've learned from my career, and hear from you what you've learned from your lives and your celebratory stories. So that's what Opening Ceremony podcast is about. If you would like to share your ceremonies with me, please get in touch. And if there are other people out there who are experts or who've done something really weird and wonderful, or have quite a strong, passionate understanding of what ritual and what ceremony does for us, call me. You can contact me through Jess May, jess-may.com, and you'll find all of the things that I do there, including this, weddings. So you can find this on Spotify and Apple if you're out running when you want to listen to it. And you can hear about my living wakes and all the other things, including menopause ceremonies, which I'm going to start launching in the new year. So, cheers. I have a homemade coffee, a frappe in fact. I bought a fancy coffee machine from Facebook Marketplace, changed my life. Cheers, and I hope you just enjoy being in this constellation with everyone that's excited to hear human stories. And I will see you soon. Bye.